probably always wanted to own land, and I can't tell you why. And then when we came back to Pass Christian in '97, I answered a ad in the newspaper for an extension short course, Introduction to Woodland Management. Well, one night a week for about 6 weeks. Dr. Glenn Hughes taught the course. I never dreamed and that was from about 1999, 2000. I never really dreamed I'd live on the land until Katrina washed our house away in Pass Christian. And then after about a year, Laura said, you know, well, we have a house up on the land, which we did. We added on this little house on one of the transactions. And we have all that land, you know, why don't we just move to the farm? It's a beautiful time of year to see the savanna, you know, with all the flowers and the butterflies. When I saw what I had done to some of the grass savanna, establishing plantations and all, and that sort of inspired the cattle, you know, to enlist their help with things, and the seed collector to collect the native grass seed and trying to put back the savanna. And that's, you know, it's just the aesthetics and the wildlife and the soil. The soil is everything. There are certain seeds that go into the seed bank that won't germinate unless that activity reaches a certain crescendo under there. And they said, okay, it's all right for us to go ahead and germinate now. So that's why, another reason, when you see land that has cattle on it, you know, in the right way, conservation grazing, not overgrazed, but it tends to have a higher diversity of plants in it. So it's all kind of magic, really. There were some biologists from the Memphis Zoo here recently doing some surveys, and this is all in preparation to putting frogs out this fall. And they'll put hundreds of frogs out. And typically what will happen is that the frogs will stay as close to that pond as possible. They'll wait for the rains to come and the ponds to fill, and then they'll go in there and lay their eggs. There were 0 turkeys on the place when we first came here. You know, it was all, like I said, it was fire excluded, it was a jungle, and no turkeys. And then when we started burning, and we started getting a few turkeys, and then when we got the cattle, it seemed like the turkeys just proliferated. Now see the cow that's looking, that's Dewey. You big old thing, you. The cattle and the turkeys seem to work hand in hand. And the deer, you know, same thing. I've seen deer and cattle grazing together in the same scene, you know. The ground cover needs sunlight, obviously, to flourish. So the more sunlight you can get, you know, to an extent, the better it is. And it's really as simple as that. One way I like to think of the cattle as you're really harnessing sunlight to convert it to protein, you know? So there's a lot of emphasis in forestry on burning. Well, the burning itself is good, but when you think about it, you're converting all this sunlight to biomass, and then you're burning it up, which is kind of a waste. If you could put some cattle in there and convert some of it to meat, it kind of puts you ahead of the game a little bit, you know? It probably has to do with my grandfather, who was born in Scotland, and he was a timberman. He came to New Orleans and participated in the big cut of the virgin cypress, and then he went out west to Oregon with a bunch of lumbermen, other lumbermen. You know, really standing on the backs of many people and organizations. I mean, my friend Judd Brook, who sold me the land, Mississippi Forestry Association, Mississippi Extension Service, Farm Bureau, too many to name, really.